Today I am talking about sensory toys and sensory aids and which ones have worked for our girls and which ones they haven't loved. The first thing I want to say is I think this is pretty personal and it varies from person to person wildly. Maggie loves slime. Tessie doesn't really love having anything that is that consistency on her hands. I mean, it can really vary. And so really the biggest thing is finding out what works for you or your loved one and what helps them the most. I am going to start out with one of Tessie's very favorite things. We found this at Walmart and it was less than $10. And this one actually belongs to James. Tessie has a blue dog one, but Maggie actually bit through it, which brings me to another thing. This one, not ideal for Maggie because she wouldn't stop biting it, but it did work really well for Tessie. And so Tessie can have hers when Maggie's not around, just not when Maggie's home, because Maggie will absolutely steal it and bite another hole in it. And yeah, so it's a really good sensory toy for Tessie. For James, not at all for Maggie, because she is strong enough to break it, and she will. She has a tendency of stimming on things until they're destroyed, which is not such a problem with dollar store things, but I don't want her to break her brothers and sisters' toys. And so this is one that is just for Tessie or James when Maggie's not home. And it kind of has that Stretch Armstrong feel. I like it because it's instantly easy to pull on and it doesn't really have to be warmed up. This is from Dollar Tree. Now, there are a lot of different stretchy things from Dollar Tree. Maggie really likes the little round ones. For anyone who's new here, Maggie is our 9-year-old who is on the autism spectrum, and Tessie is our 3-year-old who's on the autism spectrum. Tessie, she's not that into the round ones, but she really likes the ones that are like long and skinny that she can really stretch. Again, this one is actually James's because it's green and James's favorite color is green. And I get him sensory stuff too. I get all of my kids sensory toys. So there have definitely been fights over this one because Tessie saw it and was like, that's mine. James keeps this in his treasure area of toys that he does not want his sisters touching. When I'm looking for Tessie sensory squishies, I look for ones now that are like this, that are long and that she can spin around because she likes to kind of hang things off of her hand and swing them back and forth, along with stretching them and squishing them. Now, if you have watched my channel long, you know about this one of Tessie's sensory interests. It is probably my favorite stim of all times. She loves to just sit quietly and move these sequins over and over and over and over again. One time when she had a sleep study, she was really upset, and we happened to have like a little tiny doll that was like this, and I just kept going like this, and she would be hysterical. Every time she got hysterical about having to put the EEG wires on her head, I would go like this, and then she would like go and she would move every single little sequin slowly back over until it was perfectly back, but she would do it much more slowly. And then when it was back, she would start to cry again about being hooked up for the sleep study, and I would just go like that and flip it back over, and she would like be distracted by the sequins and start over again. So it is definitely something that she can be very distracted by and that she likes to do. She enjoys doing this, and she will just be so intent and focused. A lot of times it's when she's winding down before a nap or at the end of the day. And so whenever I see sequined things, I tend to grab them. This was a Dollar Tree thing around Valentine's Day. They have them not all the time, but around different holidays they seem like they have little Dollar Tree pillows, which is kind of cool. It's a cool time to like try it out if you haven't tried it out, to see if it's a stim that would be helpful, because it's not for everybody. Maggie has absolutely no interest in these things, but Tessie thinks it's the best thing ever. So, and next up is the weighted blanket. We got this one for a really good price on Amazon. There was like a $12 off coupon, so it wasn't that much. And it has turned out to be a really good blanket. Tessie doesn't seem to be that big a fan of it, and Maggie has never liked weighted blankets. I made Maggie a weighted blanket when she was Tessie's age, and she was not impressed at all. However, Sadie, Maggie, and Patrick all seem to think that it's amazing, and I really like it too. I, growing up, would put like 20 blankets on my bed just to get that weighted feel. So if Tessie doesn't, if Tessie really ends up not liking this blanket, there will definitely be competition for the person who ends up getting it next. The boys both want me, there's a blue and green one, and the boys both want me to get them their own blue and green kid blanket. So there's definitely demand for weighted blankets in this house. Maggie, while she doesn't like weighted blankets, had a weighted compression vest that I made for her when she was a little kid, and she adored that thing. It would calm her down. When she was 3. She was 3 when I made it. It was right after her diagnosis, and I sewed lines of rice into this vest that had a bug print, and then it had a stretchy panel in the back. And she wore that thing constantly. She wore it to church every Sunday for a long time. And she was so calm when she had it on. Eventually, she just wore it out because she wore it. I patched it a few times after it started to get holes in it because she'd worn it so many times, and eventually I ended up throwing it away because it was just worn out. But Tessie hasn't worn a weighted vest, but weighted vests were amazing for Maggie. And for Tessie's honorable mentions, I would say anything, this isn't actually like a sensory toy, but what she uses as a sensory toy is any toy that is like a stick with a string on it, or even just a stick like a sword, she loves twirling with. She loves to twirl, but that makes twirling even more amazing for her, having that out in her hand as she twirls around. She's definitely using it in a sensory way. For various people in our house, those are the favorite sensory toys of the moment. And that is it for today. If you like this video, we would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in all things autism, we'd love it if you'd hit subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.